that replacement of Max's nose was awfully fast.
It's a world record. It's like 10 seconds.
I have to give my car to the mechanic before 6 a.m. and I'm not allowed to pick it up until after 4.
Yeah, you think it's tough being Sergio Perez, try being a Daniel Ricciardo.
Well, Yuki didn't go round. He just started dropping
They've
backwards.
forgotten about him.
It's time once again for everybody to ride the Idiots of F1 train. Whoa!
Choo-choo.
How are we all doing this weekend, boys?
I'm on the Max train, baby. Get out of my way.
Yeah, get out of the way at, what, 5th or 6th, was it? Maybe even worse than that, 6th. Well, at least you're in front of Sergio, though, right?
So you're going to have to let this person in the wheelchair get on the train before you... No. I'm not moving.
Oh, man. Every week, we kind of try and hold back.
I think we should change the name to Idiots of Red Bull.
Or Red Bull Idiots of F1.
Yeah, sponsored by Red Bull.
Were our odds correct? Did somebody pick George first and Lewis? Because I think all three of us picked...
We definitely all went
Mercedes.
Mercedes first, but I think we all went Lewis.
Did I go? Yeah, I think we all... Because Ollie and I were guaranteeing a Lewis victory.
Yeah.
okay.
I was so close.
I'm so glad I was wrong,
I got Sergio third. I think somebody picked a Ferrari for third as well.
Yeah, you did, and we laughed at you for doing it because we were like,
That's
Ev,
right,
you were the
yeah.
one that
Between
told
us
us.
all, you would have won a lot of money.
Yeah, you said that they were terrible at high elevation.
Well, they weren't amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, what an eventful race. We obviously have so much to talk about. Just a lot of shit went down. It's not what I'd call like my favourite race of the year or anything, but it did deliver. Especially that back section, right from the word go. First lap, then the first lap after the safety car, then we had another safety car.
Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah, if you think it's tough being Sergio Perez, try being a Daniel Ricciardo fan. Oh, well, it was an unbelievable race, an unbelievable weekend, and I think you guys would agree that all the sessions were amazing, including the sprint, Ev.
Best
and
race
all. What did you
weekend of
guys
the
think
year.
of that? Yeah?
Best race weekend of the year for me.
What did you think, Ev? Do you reckon up there with one of the best?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen it once this year. Anybody overtake the Red Bull on power.
Yeah.
And George did that. Admittedly, he was on soft tyres and Max was on the mediums. And that does make a big difference. But normally, Red Bull's always had something in the reserve.
Yeah.
And it just didn't happen for them all weekend.
Well, I tell you who it did happen for part of the weekend was old Kevin Magnussen.
K-Mag.
Now, yes, there was rain and there's a bit of that, but I think overall...
I think that's pretty funny.
He was driving pretty well considering, like, forget the rain. Like, I think he still would have... He still got into Q3 and I think he would have still got a pretty decent spot. He was driving well. He was driving well. Thank God for him that it rained and there was, George went off the track and it's nice to have those moments.
I think
but
those,
at least he wasn't...
those rain sessions are as much about luck as anything else and just timing. And again, it's the luck of timing your pit to change your tyres or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it was all there on display for old K-Mag, who obviously won the qualifying, got pole in qualifying to line up first in the sprint. And then you just watched him go back.
Yeah, like he still ended up where he should have been.
Did George, do we know if he went off deliberately on purpose?
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, anything to help out Kevin Magnussen.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a
Just
good
to kind of
weekend. Good
separate
weekend.
the
I
field.
thought the track, like, it looked amazing. It sounded amazing. I really want to go to Brazil. I really want to go to the Brillian Grand Prix now. It wasn't
For
ever.
once, it was like...
It wasn't ever at the top of my list, but now.
Oh, yeah, it's always been top of mine.
I was just thinking then, there's not much of a grandstand anywhere else other than the straights there, is there? You can
No.
only really watch it on the straights at the race. There was a bit of a crowd on that last corner, but
Yeah.
it doesn't...
No, it's there's not a lot going on. There's like a Heineken section on the back half, but other than that, yeah, there's no grandstand per se.
Yeah.
I will say that I think that was the first time that we've had rain where it hasn't been so bad that we couldn't race.
Yeah.
Like at Suzuka or Spa last year. Like just a light sprinkling is what you need.
Yeah. Just to mix
Not
it up.
torrential downpour where you can't even get rid of the water.
Well, just before we get going on all the detail, with all the highs and lows that happened, for you two, I'll start with you all, what was your favourite part of the weekend? Because I feel there are a lot of points that you could really pick and go, this was great, or this was great, or this was horrendous. What for you was like your most memorable favourite part of the weekend?
I reckon the race start. I mean, yeah, quali was good, the sprint was good, but I think I sent you guys a few messages because obviously I had to watch it on delay. But there was about 3 or 4 messages that was like, oh, fuck, and then, oh, fuck, and oh, my God, like, what is happening? I think I sent a message saying, what is happening? Like, there was like a period, it was like dominoes for a bit. I thought the race start was amazing. I thought it was the best race weekend in terms of what this season could have been and probably should have been. It felt like everyone was in with a chance. Like the Ferraris looked pretty good. Obviously, Mercedes looked amazing. Even Lando Norris was in an amount, about it for a little while there. Yeah. Obviously, Haas somehow kind of, again, Haas, they won quali and Schumacher came last, but then he got up to like 12th spot in the sprint. So they looked good. Yeah. Alpine looked amazing, and then Red Bull was still there, and obviously, the car to beat, but they had a bit of unfortunate luck, at least for Max's car. So I reckon that first 10 to 15 laps was the best part of the whole weekend. It was amazing.
Yeah. I like that George did really well off the line at the beginning, because normally when somebody's got their first ever pole position, they just cock it up, because the pressure might get to you, and it was a really quick lights out this week. It's a random time. Yeah. And it just happened to be quite quick.
And that's not a start that you want to have a bad start on, because that initial chicane can really fuck you.
Yeah. So I was really happy for him for that.
But all round, that was like the start was probably the highlight? Like that initial start for Russell?
Yeah, that was, he won it there. He had to have a good start. Otherwise, Lewis would have taken it and not given it back.
Yeah, okay. I think for me, seeing Russell get his first win was a big highlight for me.
Obviously.
And felt like a great...
Bank, mate.
Yeah. Just for those tears, those sexual tears of joy. But
I thought that it mattered so much to him. I like that he was crying. Yeah. It's nice to see that sort of rawness of emotion.
He cares.
And apparently he FaceTimed his entire family immediately after, which I thought was really sweet too.
That's cute. And Toto, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one thing I don't like, and I never like it when this happens. I don't like it in any sport where Lando had food poisoning.
Oh, yeah.
I had it early this year for the first time ever, and I'm sure that you could probably get some sort of drugs from the doctor that would settle your stomach and stop you from shitting you to death and vomiting to death for 3 hours or so. Whatever, there'd probably be something where they can give you that where it stops you from spasming.
Yeah.
But at that point, a Lando Norris with heavy drugs in his system just to race cannot be better than whoever their reserve driver is who's fresh and healthy. We've got the World Cups coming up and people are talking about, well, do you take a player who's a really good player but he's only half fit and he may only play...
I've got a few arguments for this, Ev, because...
give it up, buddy, and let somebody else take it for this weekend. You're way too sick. Don't be selfish about it. Don't be greedy.
If you're taking it, don't use it as an excuse. So there are 3 sportsmen I can think off the top of my head. Michael Jordan, Tim Horan, and Dean Jones all have had some of the best games they've ever played in their entire careers off the back of a food poisoning. Off the back of food poisoning, they've ended up coming out, and I actually got to meet Tim Horan once, and I spoke to him about it. He's like, he was like, you're just kind of on your way back up, and you can't feel any worse, so you kind of just, all in your mind, you've got nothing to worry about other than just playing the game. You're not expected to do well, so it almost lifts that weight off your shoulders. Whereas Lando's like, I had food poisoning. What do you expect? I was like, well, if you're going to drive, mate, I expect you to do better than that.
All weekend. He brought it up every single time he got interviewed.
Bit of a Lewis trait, really.
Oh.
Okay, well, let's get on to the race, shall we? Let's go. Russell's first ever win, like we mentioned. Now, this was huge, as Ollie mentioned. He was crying at the end, calling his family, calling Toto. You couldn't help but be happy for the guy. And For the first time this year, we hear "God Save the King."
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah,
For the first time ever in sport, probably. Though I guess it would have been played in some of the rugby over the cricket and the cricket, but big F1 win for England. So no Toto at all this weekend. He wasn't even there. Now, where was he this weekend?
Oh, he's taking races off, so he's only going to like 2/3 of the races now instead of
2/3. So he's going for 2 of the last 3 races.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean in general, moving forward, like forever?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
just-
yeah. Like it's just too much for him. Which I really
Really?
respect. That like, imagine having to like constantly have to see Christian Horner in the car park after the race. Like, oh, like
Here comes Christian
no.
again.
I timed my exit to not bump into
to
you.
avoid you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick, pretend I'm on the phone.
When did
Pretend
he
I'm on the
say-
phone.
when
But
did
there's
that
no one
come out,
calling you,
Ed?
Toto. Shut up.
When did Toto say?
Oh, like 6 months ago?
I didn't even
What?
realise.
He's
Yeah,
been
like
at every
halfway through the
race
season.
since.
No, there's been 1 or 2. But I'm surprised he wasn't there for this one because it's such a significant race
Yeah.
for
We obviously
Mercedes
hadn't
and
listened
for
to the
Lewis.
idiots of F1 admit and
Yeah.
predict that Mercedes would win.
Yeah. Now, I missed this on TV, but was there a point where Sky Sports were talking to him, but the TV audience couldn't hear him at all?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it
really
didn't
awkward.
come through
At least on my
didn't-
feed.
How long did that go for?
Like 10
like 30
minutes?
seconds or something. Like it was significant.
No. It was
Yeah.
so much longer.
It felt a lot longer.
It went for the entire interview with Toto, and all the people were asking him questions and responding to him in, like they could obviously hear him through their feed, but it wasn't coming through the TV feed. So it was
That's so
literally
bad.
just, it was like, "You're on mute, Toto. You're on mute." It was like you were in the middle of COVID all over again. But
Yeah.
no one picked up that it wasn't being broadcast into the lounge rooms of people around the
What
world.
the fuck
It
is
was
the
just going
director
through
of
the
Sky
producer's
Sports
ears.
doing? Oh, the producer. Like, why isn't he going, oh, wait, someone, like, Jesus.
I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but it definitely wasn't coming through. And it did go for a good 5 minutes at least. It was
Yeah.
very, very awkward to watch. Simon and I always forget his name. What's the English driver's name? Damon Hill. That's who I was thinking of. I always forget his name. Damon Hill. And,
Love Damon. I love how blunt Damon is.
Yeah. They were all
Yeah, I like
asking him
it.
questions, and Naomi was there,
Silver
and they're all
Fox.
responding to him as if like we could hear the entire conversation. It was like you're standing in a room and your mum's on the phone, and you're like, "Oh, I wonder what my dad's saying right now." It was like that.
Yeah. Okay, well, someone who was, I thought was very happy for Russell and was good to see was Lewis Hamilton coming in behind his teammate at second. Now, as happy as Lewis would be to be second, it's got to hurt a little that you're one step closer to missing out on a win for the entire year after having such a great weekend and seeing your teammate win at what's potentially your favourite track. Like, it must hurt a little, don't you think?
I don't know. I think he's won enough, hasn't he?
I don't know. I reckon, as we said last week, I reckon there'd be a big part of his ego that would be significantly damaged by the reality of not winning a race the year after he was due to win his 8th World Championship. And to be fair, I fully anticipated that Lewis Bingo would be, at full arms yesterday or today or whenever the race was.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, he said all the right things, but he actually came across really legitimate. He seemed really authentically happy
Yeah.
for George. And that caught me off
said
guard because
exactly
I
the
was
same thing.
I was expecting a little bit of like backhand compliments, I just anticipated that Lewis would somehow make it about how hard he tried, and
I actually think I've got a bit of food poisoning from Lando Norris.
You still won even though you're so slow.
Oh, it's so good. But yeah, he just sounded so genuinely happy.
I was scared for George because at the restart after that really long safety car, George was like, "So are we just holding in our positions, aren't we?" And the guy was like, "No, you're racing, buddy." It's like, "Good luck."
it's funny when I
glad
picked
they
up
did.
on that too, Ev,
Yeah.
and I sat there thinking that Lewis was actually going to win. And that here's George asking for like a hand me, like just let me have this win, just let me have it.
Yeah.
And I thought
Yeah.
it was, well done Mercedes on letting the boys race. And to be honest with you, George did amazing because Lewis couldn't get him. Lewis could not get him. George was flawless for that entire final 10 laps or whatever
Yep.
it was, and he deserved the win.
Yeah. No mistakes.
No mistakes.
Yeah. And obviously he had that collision, like Lewis had that collision earlier with Max. And it was interesting because everyone loves to say how biased Sky Sports are towards Lewis Hamilton, and here's Martin Brundle going, no, Lewis, I think Lewis is at fault there. And then even after the FIA were investigating, it's like, no, I kind of still stand by what I said after watching the replays. So it's like, I don't know what you need to know. Like, I know Sky Sports can be a bit biased, but clearly that was a moment where you could have gone, obviously Max was at fault. He got the penalty, and here they are defending him, saying, no, actually, I don't think he was at fault there. And
I didn't like Max's post-rationalisation of that entire thing.
What did he say?
Oh, I can't remember it word for word, but he was kind of establishing the fact that he knew the gap wasn't there, but he went for it anyway. And he said then something along the lines of typical of Lewis to do that. I was expecting, some good racing with him, but obviously not. Like, it's like, hold on, you've just established that you knew the gap wasn't there.
Yeah.
You were going for it regardless. You kind of also identified that you didn't give a shit about your race at that point because it was a 5-second penalty for you, but it cost Lewis his race. So there's a bit of a contradiction in that. Anyways, I'm sure we'll talk about Max post-race because there's a lot to unpack about Max post-race, but he cut a very different figure after the race today.
Yeah.
And I think he's got some PR work to do.
It's funny because at that point when they collided and he kind of over the radio was like, oh, whatever, it is what it is. So I was like, yeah, he must not really care too much because now he's won everything this year. He's like, oh, well, he bumped me. I'll deal with it. I'll just come in wherever. And then, later, the whole Perez situation, which we'll get to, it was like, oh, he obviously just knew what he did at that point and didn't want to argue it because he knew, he was at fault. And then Hamilton's response of, what can I say? You know what it is like with Max.
Or was it more personal?
I don't even think it was personal. He just has no care. Like when he wants to do it his way, he just does it his way, regardless of what happens in the result. He probably thought that Lewis would come out second best in that, so he went for it.
I love that it kind of ladders back up to Silverstone last year, which I know we've spoken to death, and Digz, you have your perspective, but at the end of the day, it was kind of similar where I think Max just expects people to give up, whereas in both those instances at Silverstone and now, Lewis wasn't going to give up the position, and Max was therefore the one that got caught out twice.
I mean, I don't really compare this to Silverstone. I think it was a
No, but it's more about that.
I know the result. I know the result. It kind of comes down to what Karun, that video we watched of Karun, how he discusses how Max slyly tries to get away with it, so he kind of has that plausible deniability.
Yeah.
Even though, and by the time they got to Silverstone, Lewis had kind of figured that out, and he was like, "Nah, I'm doing this."
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Which, to be fair, I'm sure they would all do. Of course, Lewis hasn't won 7 without. Just ask Fernando Alonso without being a dick to him or, not letting him have the space.
Yeah.
But you can't just inject yourself into that closing gap and then blame the other guy for closing the gap.
Yeah.
It's a risk, so either you take it and you suffer the consequences or you don't.
Look, we've had... you're not allowed to swerve in the braking zone. That's come in because of Max Verstappen. You're not allowed to be aggressive under a safety car. That's come in because of Max Verstappen. The new rule about how your axle needs to be in front of the other axle, that's come in because of Max Verstappen. All of these, there's so many rules that have come in because of how dangerous he is and how just obnoxious of a driver he is. And
dangerous or
he still has lots
aggressive?
of fans regardless. Well, they're the same thing, aren't they?
Not always.
Well, no, because
But
that's what gives him the edge to be a world champion, right?
Ayrton Senna said the same thing. He's like, you as a race driver should know you have to take the gap that you think is there. Otherwise, you're not a race driver.
Well, just ask Daniel Ricciardo that. He thought that there was a gap there.
That was just hopeless. We'll talk
He
about
barely
it.
touched him. I felt that was unfair.
Yeah, but he also if you watch it, the slow mo of how slowly he started getting, he could have definitely avoided it. I think. Anyway, Mercedes are so close to second in the Constructors' Championship. They're only 19 points away. What needs to happen next week for them to get that?
So what's that?
Won't.
So how many
more points did they get than Ferrari today by getting first and second?
Let's see. So George got 20. Who got fastest lap, actually? Was that George? Let's say between the two of them, they got 43 points, right? 25 and 18 for first and second. And what did Ferrari come? They came, third and fourth.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Which is, here we go. We're doing the math on the run here, which is 16 plus 14. So that's 14 points.
George got the fastest lap.
Yeah, cool. So they beat them by 13 points this week, which means that for Mercedes to get 1 and 2, Ferrari need to come 5th and below.
For them to actually catch up to
for Mercedes to win second in the Constructors' Championship.
That's a big ask.
Yeah,
So I think that's very unlikely.
Do you reckon?
Well, they have to come first and second, and Ferrari have to come below 5th.
Well, they have to beat them by 20 points.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means
can be any combination.
Max and Sergio must come 3rd and 4th.
More or less,
and,
yeah.
I mean, the more likely scenarios, I would have thought that Red Bull would be up higher. However, Mercedes just looked so fast. They looked so fast this weekend.
Yeah,
I don't
they look like Red Bull have been all season.
If Mercedes came like 4th and 5th and both Ferraris didn't finish top 10, will actually be less than that. Anyways, the point being is there's many combinations in which Mercedes can beat Ferrari next week. And to be honest with you, it's all possible. I wouldn't be surprised. Although I think Carlos took a new ICE this weekend, but be interesting to see how much longer Charles's engine lasts. They'll be pushing it right to the end.
Yeah, I mean, based on the average of what Ferrari's done this year and Mercedes, like if Mercedes come out with their speed again next week, they still have to hope that Red Bull get in the way, which is, I mean, it's very plausible. If Red Bull have a good week next week, then that makes it very exciting. But, as soon as Max just has a great weekend like he has been having all year, it kind of ruins it for them. But at least it's something to keep an eye on. So Ferrari, as we just spoke about, 3rd and 4th. Sainz in 3rd. He had a really great race, pretty uneventful, but like a solid race. And as you alluded to earlier, Ollie, great outcome for Ferrari given they're supposed to struggle at high altitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were so slow in Mexico, you would have thought the same thing would have happened here. And then obviously Leclerc in 4th. Desperate for them to give that position, which I think is plausible. What do you guys think about that? Do you think they should have given it to Leclerc or they should have just let them?
I don't think you can. I liked what the commentator said. I don't think you should be giving away, you shouldn't be reversing grid order, particularly if it takes a podium away from someone. It was an extra 2 points.
I agree.
At the end of the day, they've still got to race the last race.
Yeah, agreed. I think that would have been pretty unfair for Sainz. Like he was racing well. Like obviously Leclerc was unlucky.
He looked the better
because of
driver all
Norris.
weekend.
Yeah. Other than that little knock from Norris, which Leclerc was very lucky to drive away from, that could have been a lot worse. I was really expecting the front of his car to be crunched.
I thought he was done.
Yeah.
Can we invent barriers so that people can have a crash and drive away from them? Because they were like, oh, we're going to get a safety car in the first lap. And then someone's like, oh, no, I see him in the background. How the hell did he get out of that?
How did he get out of it? He flew, he was backwards and then sideways.
I think it's because it was like the way he hit the barrier was more head on. He's done that before.
Yeah.
Someone's done that before and they went head on and it was like, oh, he's going to be fucked. And then they kind of bounced off and they were fine.
Yeah.
It's more if you come in a slight angle and it tears the nose off, I think.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of nose tearing off, that replacement of Max's nose was awfully fast.
It was a world record.
That was so fast. 10 seconds
like 10
or something.
seconds.
I have to give my car to the mechanic before 6 a.m. and I'm not allowed to pick it up until after 4. And that's if you're lucky. That's if they remembered to order the part in.
Yeah.
10 seconds to replace. I don't know how they did that.
It was amazing. Imagine going to the mechanic. Yeah, so your car will be ready tomorrow, Ev. No, mate. I've seen the F1. I'll give you 20 seconds.
It'll be ready
right
in
now.
10 seconds.
Where's the lift? Where's your little lift thing in the gun?
Yeah.
It's amazing. 5th. Now, a surprisingly eventful weekend for Alonso. He had an amazing weekend.
Fernando.
Look, I just think he's getting better with age. He's like a fine wine. He seems to be getting better and better. And to be honest with you, I can't help but think of what this year would have been for him had his car of not kind of had to be retired on so many occasions or, damage at the fault of someone else. But yeah, look, I think it was probably less to do with Alonso's drive this weekend and more to do with the team dynamic and, you know, the elusive Esteban Ocon, who actually comes across as such a sweetheart and a bit of a gentle bloke, but clearly is a very different personality behind that wheel.
Well, there is something to clear up about that.
Yes.
In that, so there was Esteban.
Well, do you want to contextualize it before you clean it up?
What was the message that...
it was the restart towards the end of the race.
It's about 15 laps to go.
Yeah, they wanted Esteban to let Fernando pass him because Fernando was running faster. And what got played on Sky, on the TV, was Esteban saying... First of all, they were like,
"No,
you need to confirm this. Press because there's a button to press confirm, so you don't actually have to say it over the radio to give away any sort of strategy." So they were like, "Confirm. You have to like physically confirm. You can't just nod." And he was like, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to do this and that and the other." Apparently, there was a lot more to that which they didn't get to. And so what he did actually say, the whole message was Esteban saying, "Let me overtake Vettel, and then I'll let Fernando overtake me."
Yeah,
which is exactly what he did. So
and you're right,
he did what he was asked.
Yeah,
he did do what he's asked, but it came across in a moment where I think, you know, social media turned pretty quickly. And let's not forget that it also happened to come off a pretty fiery weekend between the pair of them already. They'd already had a few run-ins, so it added to this narrative that was already in motion about Esteban versus Alonso and Alonso versus Esteban, to the point where Alonso was questioned on Esteban after the sprint race. I think he said something along the lines of like, "Are you going to speak
only two left?"
And he's like, "Well, what's the point? There's only two races left." Like you kind of get the sense that Alonso's like had enough of Ocon, but. Yeah, he didn't actually do anything wrong, and he made the right strategic decision. They were both faster than Vettel, but if Ocon had have relented that position then and there, then not only would he have not probably been able to get Vettel, but I think it was Bottas that was sitting right behind him would have probably overtaken him. So he made the right call, and he did give the position to Alonso. But one thing that is going to be really fascinating to unfold, and we saw it again on the weekend, is... if Alonso thinks he has problems with Ocon, what does he think's coming with fucking Stroll, right? So I'm assuming you guys saw during the weekend, during the sprint,
so dirty.
Where Stroll literally went from one side of the world to the other to stop Vettel from going past him when he clearly had DRS, the streamline. He was flying, and literally Stroll pushed him so wide where Vettel was on the dirt. And I love Vettel's response. It just comes up on the radio going, "Okay."
That's what Stroll did to Alonso and Austin. He just he was about to pass him, and he just shucked over to the left, and you know it wasn't as
but that's when he cleaned up
minute.
his front bar, wasn't it?
Yeah. But there was a great meme from F1 Troll on Instagram. It's like Alonso and Seb having a chat. It's like, "I am so done with my teammate Seb." And he's like, "Well, next year you get an even worse one."
Yeah.
Better the devil you know.
Oh,
Better the devil you know you do.
I cannot wait to see Alonso and Stroll next year. It is going to be the best.
I'll tell you what is I'm still so perplexed, and obviously, you know, Alonso's a smart guy, good driver. Granted, some money would have come into play, but I'm pretty sure he's paid a lot of money by Alpine. But I wonder if at any point, other than the Ocon situation, he's going, "Fuck, I wish I didn't leave Alpine." Because that car, I mean, when it's on. And they're all but assured fourth in the Constructors' Championship now after a really bad weekend out for McLaren. I think it was down to 5 or 6 points after the sprint because Lando had a pretty good sprint. And now it's something like 28 points. So it's going to be almost impossible for McLaren. And to be honest with you, I'd be so dirty if McLaren got fourth in the Constructors because they do not deserve it after the year they've had.
I thought it was quite interesting. So this weekend we've seen Ferrari implode once again. Like every time it happens this season, you think
in the pits.
Surely this is the last time. Like we can forgive a mistake, or you can forgive in the sprint. Was it the sprint qualifying where they were like, "It's going to rain," and then Leclerc was like, "Wait a minute, am I the only one on these tires?"
Yeah.
And so like just
you are.
shit like that.
But then they didn't bring him in the lap when he should have come in. They let him do another lap. Like, so dumb.
And so between them just all season, I've defended Binotto all the time because he's like cut from Ferrari cloth. He's been there forever, but at some point the boss has to take the bullet for this.
Yeah,
because it's just gone on for so long and there's been no improvement. And then you look at McLaren, Zach Brown's there every week. Zach Brown would be Binotto's boss, essentially, but Zach Brown shouldn't be there. And yet, imagine having the CEO looking over your shoulder as you try to project manage. Like, it's just weird that Zach Brown's always there.
Neck.
But McLaren have kind of imploded in the second half of this season. Be it,
I reckon,
beginning with Piastri.
I was going to say, Ev, I reckon
that was
that's
communicated so badly.
Literally from that week, they've been horrendous. They were doing so well up until that point.
Yeah. It shows how much the off-track stuff impacts the on-track stuff, because I feel like it all, like, granted, Danny hasn't had a good year at all, but I feel like just the team dynamic and the performances and everything from, the grid through to kind of pit side has all just gone to shit since all of that hoo-ha came out about, Piastri and Ricciardo.
And Ricciardo's actually had his best results in the last 5 or 6 races, which is funny.
He's been driving well.
Obviously,
it's a shame.
Today was obviously terrible. I think it was a silly mistake today. But now an unusual spot to move to at 6th and 7th, we have the Red Bull cars. 6th, we have Verstappen. And we're all fucking asking, why didn't he give the position back to Perez after being told to do so? Now, unbelievable, you say, Ollie, but is it unbelievable? It's kind of believable.
Can we just give a bit of context for those that missed the race?
Verstappen was let through by Perez to try and take Alonso. Verstappen failed at that. So then they asked Verstappen to let Perez back through to do the same thing, and Verstappen refused to let him through. And when they asked him why after the race, he's like, you know why, we're not talking about it again.
But it's really important to clarify the reason why, it wasn't like a tit-for-tat thing. The reason why it was important to let Sergio have the position over Max was because Sergio's obviously chasing down second spot in the Drivers' Championship, and he needs every point he can get.
Right, and this would have kept him at number 2. It would have made no difference to Max, other than hurt his ego a little bit. And Red Bull want that 1-2 spot, and that would be a huge result for them. And all he had to do was let Checo through. That's all. And he was such a shit about it. And Perez has done a lot from him. In Perez's mind, he kind of helped Max a huge amount to win both champions. And I know, look, we've been trying to avoid the old Red Bull bashing of late, but they make it pretty easy.
Can I just give you a couple of examples of what Checo's done for Max?
Yeah.
So there's obviously Monaco, in which he overcut Hamilton to 6th place, which actually let Max win. There was Baku, which he didn't allow Hamilton to pass him all race, and at the second startup, Hamilton went long and ended up in 16th. There was France, so due to position, he made Hamilton not go into pits. Max caught up with him, passed Hamilton and won the race. There was Silverstone, which, because of what Sergio did, he took the fastest lap from Hamilton, which then obviously didn't give Lewis the extra point. There was obviously Turkey, where Perez defended him and left him in 5th when Max got 2nd. There was Austin, in which he made Hamilton make a pit stop too soon to prevent the undercut, of which Max then went on to win the race. There was Brazil, and again, he took the fastest lap from Hamilton. This is all last year, by the way. This is all in the lead up to Max winning.
We're not even on
the World
2022
Championship
yet.
And then there's obviously Abu Dhabi, which was the last race of the year, which, to be honest with you, the ending wouldn't have happened the way it did if it wasn't for Sergio. Literally, there was a 10-second gap between Lewis and Max, and Sergio was able to defend in first spot. He held Lewis back to close up a 10-second differential for Max to catch up to Lewis, which then allowed him to be in that position to take him in the last lap. So and Diggs, you asked the question, are we really that surprised that Max didn't give the position up? I absolutely am. I am gobsmacked. I am gobsmacked by it because, first of all, I thought there was an element of maturity that was coming through in Max's ability as a racer. And you've seen that in his discipline from a driving perspective, albeit can't help but laugh at both of them. And I reckon he was at fault for that Lewis crash this morning. But also just the way he responded and the complete disdain that he had for this teammate that had gone to nth degree to protect him and look after him, knowing Sergio's place as second driver. Sergio's never tried to be anything other than that. Obviously, there was a period at the beginning of this year where Sergio looked like, after Monaco, maybe he could be in a shot. But we all knew that the car would eventually just sort itself out and lean towards Max's style of driving. But if I was Sergio, the first thing I would have said to Max is, fuck you, mate. Like, what a dog act. You're a dog.
When you say, like, you're surprised, I find this is really telling. People have got to be really careful in forgetting the kind of attitude someone has when they're winning. Like, when someone's winning and they're not put under pressure or in a challenging position, it's really easy to look mature and look like the good guy.
Yeah.
Unless you're just a real spoil sport.
How
and a
many
bad
times
winner.
Lewis has been like, why did you put me on these tires?
Lewis does the
Why
same
did
thing.
you do this to me?
You know, so I think it's
Yeah.
pretty telling when Max. It's just a quick reminder for everyone
But
who
Diggs,
jumps
there
on
was
our back
nothing
about
to
being
gain
anti-Max.
for Max. There was
I know,
nothing
and that's
to gain
what
for him.
I know, and that's what shows his true colors so much.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
we're pretty careful with what we say, and people jump down our throats, and we're like, we're just saying, like, he's not this great person you think he is. We're pretty sure he's still this somewhat this guy, and he just
had
threw
this,
that home.
He had this contempt that he was like, why are you asking me this? I told you not to ask me to do this.
So
like,
much contempt.
Like, he was
Yeah.
blaming
It's
them.
your fault.
Like, well, yeah, why are you? I told you, don't ask me to do that. Like, what are you doing?
But also, Max would have been well aware when they asked Sergio to get out of his way. Max had
Yeah,
the
that's right.
message communicated to him like 20 laps before, saying, if the positions are still you and him, you and Sergio by the end of the race, you're going to have to give that position back. So why did Max wait until the last fucking lap to tell them to fuck off? Like,
Because then he didn't have to have the argument for the entire race.
Yeah.
yeah. So honestly,
It's the
such a
equivalent of
dog
dating.
act.
It's the equivalent of dating, and that's like either the guy or the girl really doesn't want to go on the date. And they're like, yeah, Friday night, awesome, can't wait, see you on Friday. An hour before the date happens, oh, you're gonna hate me. I'm so sorry, but I'm not actually gonna make it, and I never want to see you again.
But like, Ollie, you've got a little boy. Like, you know, if you're raising a kid to want to be into F1 and he wants to support whoever's winning, and then how do you explain, like, well, no, you know, don't look up to this guy because that's not a character trait that you should develop.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, and again, by no chance of my impression, but he loves Lewis Hamilton, right? So you know, the reality is he.
Is that because Jamie?
No, yeah. No, he's always, and again, I don't know why, but he says to me all the time, and he's only 5, but he goes, oh, why didn't Max win again? But I'll tell you what it does do, Ev. It's, you know, like kids, they choose who they want, and there are personality types that they'll align with, and they'll go, oh, that he's got like a certain archetype, right? Like, you know, the bandit, or, you know, just the
like the Ninja
guy that
Turtles.
likes to cause trouble. But
Spice Girls.
do you know what the difference about what I saw from Max is? It's got nothing to do with the type of character he can play. He just comes across as a poor fucking sore loser. That is how he came across on the weekend.
Yeah. Okay, so Ollie, you wanted to pose a question to us about. So obviously Perez came in 7th. He's now behind Charles in the championship.
no, equal points, isn't it?
Yes, but he's
Yeah, they're
behind him.
equal
He's still
points,
on equal
but-
points, but he's going to be behind him.
Yeah, but
Oh,
just
okay.
to clarify that Charles would get second in the Drivers' Championship if it finished like this now, because Charles has had more wins than Sergio.
Ah, right. Very good.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a point differential in football, Ev, where if you're tied on like for and against
No,
the
I
team that
understand
scored
the
the most
concept.
goals. Yeah, cool. All right.
So what was the question you had, Ol?
Well, would this, let's say for instance the roles were reversed, right? Can you imagine if the shoe was on the other foot? Can you imagine?
I think
'cause
I
what
can.
I'm really curious about is how Christian Horner has handled this. I was really watching that from I guess a leadership perspective, and to be honest with you, like leaders are supposed to, and again, like the question could be put on Max, like what sort of leader are you if you're not a teammate, if you're not capable of dragging the bloke behind you to come with you, and you know, like what sort of leader are you, Max? And I think it's clear that Max isn't a leader. Max is 100%.
He's never needed to be.
No.
Well, yeah, fine. But Christian Horner is. Christian Horner's supposed to be a leader, and
I've never thought he's much of a leader.
he has
but he's
not
supposed
come
to be.
out with anything to sanction Max. In fact, all Christian has done is deflected the entire thing, right? So in what's come out on Christian's Instagram and what came out in Christian's post-race interviews was all about, he starts the whole thing as, oh, well, we just didn't have the performance there. And look, the guys have shaken hands and they've had a talk and everybody knows where it's at now. But the biggest thing for us to seriously unpack is our performance, and where was that? It's like, hold on. If this was Sergio that defied team orders, there is no fucking way on earth that this would all just be so brushed over. I think that Red Bull are in some serious, dangerous territory where they have empowered and enshrined Max Verstappen to think he is untouchable. And now they can't even fucking tell the bloke what to do on the racetrack. And that is going to come down and haunt them, because there is no way, to your point, Diggs, that Sergio Perez is going to hold Lewis Hamilton up for 10 seconds next time around.
Never. But what this is how I envisioned it if it was the other way around. So first of all, you would have had Max screaming down, telling him to move out of the fucking way. Then they would have raced. Then he would have almost probably purposely tried to kind of crash Perez out of the way if he couldn't get a clean overtake. I'm just saying. It's just hypothetical. Just hypothetical. Didn't happen. I didn't say this didn't happen. I'm just saying. So maybe he'd do that, or he'd make a very aggressive move, and either they'd get it through clean and he'd get lucky, or they'd both crash out, kind of like Vettel and Webber, right? Yeah. Or Verstappen and Ricciardo, and then at the end of the smoke would be cleared. Max wouldn't want to do an interview. Christian would say he's going to reprimand the drivers and talk to both of them, meaning just Checo. Then Max's dad would write a blog about what a selfish cunt Checo is. Then Helmut Marko would have a go at, because of where he's from, he's a selfish driver and he should have let Max through. I think
something about him being Mexican.
Being Mexican, yeah. That's how I envisioned that whole thing playing out.
On Ted's notebook, he was saying how he saw Helmut leave to get on his private jet with Max's manager. And I was like, why is the driver's manager with the owner of the team? He's never seen this happen before. There's no reason for it. The manager would be with the driver, with the client, not with the boss. Like it's just really weird how, maybe it was just surreptitious that Ted saw them together, leaving together, but it was just like,
no such thing as coincidences.
What's going on here that they need to continue their conversation on their plane ride home?
Well, maybe it was exactly what we're thinking it should be. Maybe somebody's Helmut, of all people, might actually turn around because he doesn't give a fuck about anyone and be like, "That's not on. That will never happen again." I don't know.
You'd hope
either
so,
way,
but I doubt it.
It's such a strange thing to see happen. And to be honest with you, as I mentioned at the beginning of this sesh, Max and his PR team have a lot of work to do, because
so much.
I just was curiously scrolling through the comments on Instagram for Red Bull post the race, and there are a lot of people that are like, I'm a Red Bull fan, but that's a team. We're a team.
Yeah.
What we saw on the weekend was not teamwork. I just don't understand why on earth there is no rationale. There is no justification for Max doing what he did, albeit what he tried to allude to.
What he alluded to at the end as well made it just really screwed in that,
really
just tighten
personal.
That screw. Yeah.
And
I'm actually really
nasty.
impressed with the Red Bull fans. I actually thought that they would defend him, and perhaps that's why he thought he could get away with it. He's like, the fans will still love me. They'll defend me. And everyone's kind of come out going, yeah, I'm not okay with that. That's not cool. You've lost me. I'm not, you're not my I'm not a fan.
I tell you what was really funny though, Diggs, is, and again, I don't know if you saw the post-race interview with Sergio, but they were asking Sergio about it. They were like, "Oh, and Sergio, what do you have to say about Max not giving you back the position?" He was like, "Oh, obviously I'm disappointed. I'm not sure what happened from a comms perspective on his side. Maybe he didn't get the message." And again, it was Sky, right? So the Sky reporter, which I know have already been blacklisted from Red Bull, turned around and go, "Oh, no, he got the message. He said he wasn't going to do it." And Sergio, his face was like, "What?" And he was like,
Oh, that's so mean.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
well, I mean,
poor
good on the journos for doing it. But
yeah. No, I mean, like, it's so mean that he had to find, like, for him.
Oh, I spoke to that girl you were going to have your first date with. No, she told me she never wants to see you again.
Yeah.
But I saw
like that,
on Twitter when I was doing a bit of news research for the week that my mate's name was popping up in popular searches. He was trending, Nico Rosberg. And I was like, maybe he said something about the Lewis and Max crash. So I clicked on it. And what it was people going, well, I guess Sergio Perez is going to be going full Rosberg next year.
Not giving a fuck about
I was like,
Max.
how good is that? I was like, I hope so. I hope he comes out next year and is like, you know what? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, but you know
I
why
don't
he
care.
won't, though, Diggs? Because as good a driver as Sergio is, there is no other team lining up for him. He will be wanting a 1-year extension, so he will always play the right number 2 driver card. I just think that there will be moments that kind of could go one way or the other, and he'd be like, "Oh, sorry, my brake wasn't working hard."
Yeah,
enough.
I can't hear you. What? It's my radio. No. Yeah. Well, speaking of tiffs and moments and just the characteristics of teammates, we get on to Ocon at 8th, and I think Ev kind of cleared the air between Ocon and Alonso, but not a bad effort. But considering that they're just consistently up now. I was surprised. I was surprised initially with Ocon's response. I usually defend Ocon, but as Ev has already pointed out, it wasn't as bad as we all thought. And Ollie wanted to counter Ocon's decision. But, he did the right thing.
Yeah. I agree. Ev beat me to it. I made a note because I wanted to highlight the fact that it made strategic sense for what he did. It's just what was presented over the air wasn't great, but Ev's already covered that off. So as much as at first, honestly, when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, are you fucking joking? And listening to it play out over live TV like that, you're like, no. And then he actually did a really good job of justifying it. And I'll tell you what is actually more impressive about the whole thing is how quickly these guys can think while they've got a fucking 300 kilometer per hour weapon in their hands,
And with 20 buttons in front of them that they have to press.
Yeah. They can plan that out and map it out and know what I got to do is get in front of him so that I don't get eaten by a live and then I don't get caught stuck behind him for the rest. This is the best opportunity.
Isn't it, if you're on the phone, it's the equivalent of drunk driving? You lose something like 20% of your cognitive power.
That's right.
Even though your hand's free, your brain is still thinking about the conversation.
I reckon that goes up for men.
Yeah.
Right? Because men are terrible multitaskers.
Okay, well, I think it was pretty solid effort from Alpine altogether. They've really just, I think, you've already discussed it, but they've really stamped their authority in the best of the rest. And it'd be really interesting to see what happens with Ocon and Gasly next year. Gasly really hasn't been doing much for this last end of the year, and I think Ocon's been driving well. We all love to hate on him a bit, but I think he's done a solid performance today. No different. 9th, Bottas. I didn't even notice he was racing, to be honest. Anyone got any?
The only thing I noticed
Bottas?
about him was his amazing moustache.
Oh, yeah. He looked great. Okay, so other than Bottas's mustache, great that he came in 9th. A couple of points for him. My favourite, 10th, Stroll in the points again. What a performance.
Stroll.
So I think next year my favourite couple will be Stroll and Alonso, and I really hope it's as fiery as
it's going to be fireworks
it to
every weekend. It'll be a mess.
Alonso won't have the patience for him. I don't actually think Ocon's that bad. I know you guys do. I don't actually think he's all right. I think he has every right to challenge when he challenges, but Stroll just makes stupid decisions and just does dumb shit.
You're right. Vettel's a lot more patient than Alonso. I think.
Yeah.
And he seems to be a little bit more like, my career's coming to end. I'm just floating through, enjoying the moments, using it as a good pedestal to spread good messages. Whereas Alonso's like, I must come first.
Yeah. Slow car, who fucking cares? I'm coming up the road.
Coming through.
And then, a team that was competing with them for a little while, McLaren. What a weekend for McLaren. I would love to hear your thoughts on them, Ollie. I know you were talking a bit about them before, but hit me with your love of the team.
It's a shame. It's the only F1 merch I have is McLaren, and obviously the affiliation that was attached to Danny Rick. But Yeah, I mean, there goes their season. I'll be so surprised, and I'll eat my hat if they get fourth somehow. They'd need a massive weekend next weekend. But yeah, I mean, again, so underwhelming. Showed so much potential. I think everybody thought that this would be a year that they actually start making the right, genuine footsteps towards being back at the top of the grid. And they've been shit. But I've spoken about enough of them today. I think there's. Again, seems like a team that had the potential, but for whatever reason, seems to be a lot of stuff going on there, which I wonder is having a broader impact.
Danny's crash, I thought, was really poor. It seemed like he just kind of made a bad move in real time. I was like, oh, that was dumb. Then I watched it a few more times on the replay, and he actually doesn't. It's not like he careers into Magnussen. He slowly gets closer and closer. He had a long time to just ease off or brake a little more. It was almost like he just didn't care, and he's like, oh, maybe I'll make it. And he bumped it, and maybe he thought the bump wouldn't spin him out as badly as it did. I don't know.
Yeah, how weird. I read that the other way. I thought he braked late and tried to swerve back to avoid hitting him, and because it's the slightest of clips. Like, he barely touches him.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, yeah.
And they both would have been fine if they hadn't have recollected each other. They would have both raced off.
Yeah. And that was such a big crash as well. Like,
it was
a
massive.
slow car rolling backwards.
Yeah.
Like, it destroyed his suspension. It ruined the back wing of Magnussen. Like, it was just, like, surprisingly damaging for such a slow thing.
I just didn't see it coming. I was like, oh, that was a bit of a touch. Poor Magnussen. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Danny's tyres exploding. It was like an 80s action film. Just the slightest of touches, just sending everything going
I'll
everywhere.
tell you what would be really fucking annoying. Like, fancy spending like the whole week in preparation, or actually 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since they raced. Doing everything over the weekend to get to the race and bowing out in the first lap. Like, you'd just be like, oh, what a fucking waste. Why did we bother?
Well, at least you got the sprint in. Which, again, thoroughly enjoyed having the sprint. I actually think the sprint works quite well when rain mixes up the qualifying. Because, without the rain and the red flag, probably wouldn't have Magnussen on pole. So then the sprint kind of sorted that out for the start of the actual race. And if we hadn't had that, it would have been a very different race, I think. Did it kind of improve your opinion, both of you, on your thoughts on the sprint, or do you still remain solidly against it?
No, I don't think Ev and I have ever been against it. Like, it's just more about it making sure it's at the right track, isn't it? Isn't that what the argument's always been? At least my argument.
All this, I think we've always been in agreement about how you've got like half of the circuits in the calendar are now either temporary street circuits or they're otherwise like Tilke designed monstrosities like Abu Dhabi and places like that, where it's like huge tracks that are like 50 meters wide with really exaggerated back straights, like because they're designed that way so that it can accentuate DRS overtakes.
Yeah.
But then, like, what's the point? That's not racing if you're just pressing a button and using DRS to just drive around someone. And so, and they have no character, they're no personality, they're big corporate events. And then you go to some place like Spa, Austria, Circuit of the Americas, here, Brazil, where it's like, it's undulating because it's built into the side of a hill. It's generally in some like poor area as opposed to a marina where you've got $1 million yachts and shit like that. And it has character and personality that then informs racing.
Yeah.
They're not, it's not like you're trying to pre-plan drama by having these obnoxiously long straights that are so boring.
No, mate, I completely agree. I think it's a good track. I think it's proven. I think they've kind of tried to do that with the sprints. I think Imola was the only one that wasn't really the right track, but I can see why they picked it. I guess we'll just have to pay a little more attention to the sprint.
There it is. There's the segue. He's done it.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Done
it's
it,
that
ladies and
time
gentlemen.
for Haas. You've been paying attention. Ollie, take it away.
Right, well, the score count is 14 to Evan and 15 to Digz. And, gents, to be honest with you, this might... I mean, look, we need to make a call on whether or not we've got 2 more episodes after this one or 1. Whether or not we, because realistically, next week we'll be unpacking what happened at Abu Dhabi, which is the final race of the year. But I'm sure we'll probably want to do like a season wrap. So maybe we have to go on record right now and say there'll be 2 more episodes of the year, so that if Ev does lose today, there is still 2 rounds left for him to tackle it. But that means, Ev, if you don't win today and you lose next week, then you're out.
Then I'm not going to be there for the season wrap.
Ev, you can always ask me if I want to let you through.
Yeah,
at
there
any
you go.
point, and I'll resounding no.
Digz, I'm going to give you...
There'll be people online. We'll have fans saying, "Oh, DP let him win that one so that he could bring it back."
Yeah.
To be honest with you, if the FIA ever had to comb through like the authenticity and technicalities of this quiz, I think you'd both be fucked. Who knows what the score would be? But anyways, it's 14-15 to you, Digz. After last week's almost double take from Ev, he couldn't quite do it in the true and false. But we revert to normal procedure today. We've got a couple of questions, obviously, about looking back at the race, but then also kind of, a couple of other key statistics and facts and figures that are relevant out of the weekend. So just for those that haven't kind of caught on to what this is our, I guess, residential experts quiz where the noob that is supposed to be Digby, given that we are the new people to F1, takes on the expert in Ev. And again, you might be confused by that after listening to just 1 or 2 episodes and challenging how he's the expert. Believe me, he is. But yes, these two will go up against each other in every single episode. This is episode 30, so we're now kind of 30 down, and realistically, the intention was that the winner would force the loser to donate $500 to a charity of the winner's choice, and so we're getting very close to that moment. We'll have to film it and kind of show everyone the proof in the pudding of the handover of the cash.
Novelty check.
Novelty check. Yeah. So here we go then. Music Maestro. Let's get your buzzers in.
We need buzzers. Yep.
Yes. Yep. So Digz, starting with you, mate. Let's get your buzzer.
So I have to explain my buzzer a bit. So this is due to a few things. Jerry Halliwell just had her 50th, and Horner is having problems with his first and second driver. So mine's going to be, if you want to be my driver.
Very good.
There'd be more to it, but that's just my buzzer. Yeah.
Yep. You got to let me through.
Yeah, you got to be second to Max or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, if you're going to be my driver. It's cute. I like it. There's lots of alignment here with Jerry Halliwell. Not just the colour of hair.
Red Bull.
Yeah. All right. That link. Got it. Ev, what's your buzzer, man?
Mine is "Have fun, Kev," which is what Kevin Magnussen's engineer said to him on like the start line, and I just thought that's like a dad saying it, like if ever you've gone into like a grand final of a game or something, and your dad knows that you're the underdog. That's the feeling that I got. It was like, look, buddy, you're going to lose bad, but have fun.
I love that.
Until that happens. Until you start losing. Yeah. Have fun, Kev.
Very good. All right. Well, here we go. If either of you look down, in fact, I want to see both your hands, please. Hands up for this, because we're at the business end of this shit. I want hands up, like put them on your earphones or something at all times. You will be deducted a point if your hands move from screen. All right, you ready? Question 1. When was the last 1 and 2 for Mercedes?
Have fun, Kev.
What you got, Ev?
Oh, shit. I heard this as well. Oh, I don't know.
So last 1, 2,
2021. So I'll take 1 point for that. It was in 2021.
It wasn't. And to be fair,
it started with S.
Because you've taken the guess of the year, it means that it's pretty obvious for Digz. So Digz, for you to get the point, you have to name the race.
Okay, so it was 2020,
Yep.
and it was Brazil.
No, it was Imola. Yeah.
Really?
So it was
Started with
actually,
S.
it's just ticked over 2 years since the last Mercedes 1-2 finish. That's quite frightening, isn't it? Like, it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I remember.
all right.
Yeah, that stuck with me, but obviously not well enough.
No, you were
Half a
so
point.
sure it was 2021 too.
Half a point for me, do you mean, Ev, for getting the year right?
Yeah. All right, it's 0-all. Next question. When was the last time that God Save the King was played at an F1?
If you want to be my lover, driver. It's never been played at the F1.
Well done. Well done. And I did pick up on you noticing that
Ah.
at the beginning. You did call out when George had won that it was the first
Interesting.
time God Save the Queen. King. There you go.
King.
In this
King.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that one there. Well done. 1-all. Okay, next question.
1-0.
On the topic.
1-1.
1-0. 1-0.
You heard the
Sorry.
man. It's set in stone.
1-0. On the topic of British drivers, when was the last time Brits rounded out a 1 and 2 finish in a Grand Prix? I'll give you a point for the year and a point for who.
If you want to be my driver.
Kev. I forgot what my buzzer was.
I think
You
I
go,
got
you
in
go.
there.
Yeah, you go.
Is it 2010?
It was. It was
And it was
indeed.
Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton?
That's what I
Wow,
was
he's
going
jumped to
to
a 3-0 lead just like that
Yeah.
out of the gate.
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
Why
I
did
wouldn't
you
have got
know
the year,
that? Or did you read it
Because
earlier?
no, I just know that I only recently learnt about like Jenson Button, and I know that
Oh, God.
he was good in 2010, and I was like,
Yeah,
I can't
for
think of
1 year.
another contended English driver
Yeah, that's
until
right.
Russell. So I was like,
Right.
that would be a get. Like it was an educated
That's
guess. I
right.
wasn't
Yep.
really 100%, but then I was
No,
like,
that's
if
what I
that's
was
right,
doing.
it
Well.
must be Jenson and Lewis.
3-1.
You did well. Well,
3-0.
yeah. There's a few chances here for you.
Oh, so you're
Come on,
paying
there's-
attention to me, huh?
Yeah, there's a couple of questions left. You can do this, mate. Right.
Get fucked.
Actually, to be fair, they're really hard questions. How many times has Lance Stroll finished 10th this year?
If you want to be my driver,
What?
I'm going to guess. I know it's been a couple because you always make a point of letting me know. I think I'm going to underguess though 3 times.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Ev?
I'm going to say
Double it.
6.
Yeah, well done. Well
Oh,
done.
yeah.
Nice.
And to be fair, I
was
know
dreaming.
for a fact that it's not because of what I said, because I know I'm on about a 1 second delay with you guys.
Yeah.
So he guessed
Yeah,
that
yeah.
before I said it.
Well,
done. Okay.
I think if I'd said
3-2.
over, I would have felt bad that I'd overestimated his year. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
rather
yeah.
have undershot.
Sure.
3-2.
3-1.
3-2.
Not 3-2, Ev.
3-2.
All right. For half a point each, name the team and when George Russell debuted in an F1 car.
If you want to be my driver,
What do you got?
Williams.
Wrong.
Really?
Yep. Debuted in an F1 car. I didn't say it was in a race.
Oh, I still wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
What do you mean then by if it's not a race?
Well,
Like
it's
in
your
testing.
FP1 or...
Yeah.
I'm going to say McLaren,
Wrong.
just because. Yeah, I
I'm
don't
assuming
know.
it's Mercedes.
It was Force India. He
Oh.
drove an FP1 for Force India in 2017.
That's so
at
long
Brazil.
ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
no idea. I had no idea.
That's right. Yeah. All right.
Question.
Yeah, it was a good question. This is the last one.
3-3.
Guess I've
Yep.
won then. So,
Winner takes all.
just
no.
yeah, whatever.
It's 3-1, but this one's
Dippy, let me
worth 2.
through. Dippy, just let me through with this answer. It
This
it
one's
means
worth 2.
nothing to you.
This one's worth 2. You ready?
Uh-huh.
When was the last time McLaren had 2 DNFs in the one race, and who were the drivers? So that's actually 3 points. It's 1 point for each of those.
If you want to be my driver,
What do you got?
I'm going to have to guess. So, Alonso was the driver.
Yeah, I was going to say him.
Yep.
It was 2018.
Ooh, so close. 2017.
Damn it.
I'm going to say 2017.
And it was your mate, Jensen Button.
And the other driver was Jensen Button.
Yeah. it
2
was his
points.
last-
There you go.
his
It's
last
3-all. We
big
tied
win.
it up. We tied it up.
Well done,
y'all.
Diggs. Well done,
We tied
mate.
it up. It's tied.
There you go.
Huge. 16-14.
16-14 with 2
16-14.
quizzes left. I'm going to have to get
6 legs, 8 legs.
get
6
creative.
legs, 8 legs.
6 legs, 8 legs. Have you ever thrown a kettle? Have you ever thrown a shoe over a pub, Ev? 6 legs, 8 legs.
That's the real quiz.
Well done, Diggs. That was very good.
wow.
The 2 British drivers was unbelievable. I can't believe you.
I can't believe because that was that. I mean, it was a guess. Like I knew it was about 2010. I think that was the year Jensen won
Benson.
2010, right?
Benson
Yeah.
Hedges. Yeah.
Yeah. Jensen
Yeah.
Beds Benson
Well done.
Jensen,
There you go.
rhyme.
Ev,
Jeez,
you got some
awesome.
work to do here, big guy.
Oh,
But there's
that felt
time.
good.
There is time.
Better start paying attention.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'll be paying some moolah.
Oh.
All right. Well, with that big win from yours truly, we move on to the Abu Dhabi preview of 2022.
Here comes Sebastian Vettel!
Surely this year will not get close to the event that was 2022 Abu Dhabi. Could you guys foresee a result this week that could even remotely come close to that?
I think that if Lewis wins, there will be some sense of like retribution of like, closing a wound,
Yeah, okay.
perhaps. Given
that
how
would be
dominant
nice.
they were.
That would be cool
This
to see.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it means nothing to anybody, but
Well, it does to him because he hasn't won all year, so it would be
Well, yeah,
a
that's true.
big relief for him. You don't want to hold. You don't want to lose that
yeah.
and if
record.
this weekend has
Yeah.
taught us anything, that nothing means nothing to any of these drivers. Like,
I think Max would be desperate to win it as well, as if
yeah, I
like
agree.
to put a full stop on
Yeah.
on that circuit for him.
Yeah.
So he might be quite jealous. I thought it was funny how he was like, "Look, man, next week I'll help Sergio any way I can." I'm
Yeah,
like, buddy,
yeah.
when has Sergio ever been in front of you
Yeah.
where you could help him? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
never happened this season.
Yeah.
So there is still.
And let's be honest. Like, if Max was going to help Sergio, it's probably to stop Lewis from getting first, and he probably just dive bombs him anyway, and then it's all huge amounts of controversy anyway.
Oh,
Yeah, second place.
Second
be
place
fun.
in both
Winner
championships.
takes all for second
yeah.
place.
Yeah, big
Yep.
thing for Ferrari and
And
Mercedes. That's
fourth
big deal.
place.
And
second
Alpine.
place in the constructors, fourth place in the constructors. Those are big. It's sort of like in football when a team finishes mid-table, that's still worth $20 million worth of prize money.
What's
or
the
something
team? There's like 12. There's 12 million between something like Williams and Aston. No, they were talking about it. There's two teams. It's like the difference of 12 million. It could have been. I think it was Haas and Williams or something
Worth
like
a
that.
lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a huge amount. So, it's important for everyone who's relatively new to this. It is important for a lot of those bottom teams. There's a lot of money involved for them just to get in the points. So, it's big. Well, before we get onto the race preview, I've got a few fun facts about Abu Dhabi, if you'd like to hear them, guys.
I love your fun facts.
Maybe.
Yeah. Abu is Arabic for father, and Dhabi is the Arabic word for gazelle. So, the city Abu
Father
Dhabi
gazelle.
means father of gazelle, which is thought that this
Giselle,
name...
not Giselle.
Not Giselle. It is thought that this name came about because of the abundance of gazelles in the area. Before oil was
Really?
discovered, the big business in Abu Dhabi was pearl diving. That was their key industry. And then
Nice.
in the mid to late
That makes
30s, as the pearl trade declined, they decided they'd look for the possibilities of digging for oil. And they didn't strike oil until 1958. And BP ended up being, it's a complex process, but BP were essentially the department that took that oil, and they were the distributors of it. And now the reason you have Abu Dhabi, I think, so late in the year is because the temperatures are just through the roof,
heat.
basically,
Yeah.
all the way
Yeah,
through to
yeah.
November. It's 40 degrees plus.
Almost like, why would you have a football competition in that part of the world?
Exactly. And now, during this time,
Begs the
you also
question.
get a lot of sandstorms, and intermittently, and then in some cases, you can't see more than a few meters, and that would be quite a sight to see an F1 race in the middle of a sandstorm. It'd be like Suzuka, but with sand. So that's
Abu
why we're in
Dhabi
November.
is UAE?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And Abu Dhabi, currently holds 9% of the world's proven oil reserves. So that's 98.2 billion barrels. And they almost hold 5% of the world's natural gas. So needless to say, they're not going to be short on cash for some time.
For some time, but not for all time.
Not
That's the
forever.
biggest concern,
So
right?
if anyone hasn't been to UAE, you go through Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Like, these places are just so outrageously big. The buildings, everything's big. It's clearly a city with a lot of money, and they don't know what to do with it. Almost, they're just trying to pump a country full of culture. And another interesting fact: it's illegal to be homosexual.
Yep.
There are, infamously, there. So the central bank, like the Reserve Bank, there, in Islamic law, you're not allowed to charge interest on a loan, and so all these bankers that went over there, they all got these like outrageous loans and just bought Ferraris and Lamborghinis and Porsche, right? Because there was no interest, and they were already earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on the job. If ever anybody got fired, you have, or like if your repayment falls into arrears, you have something like 24 hours, or you have between the time it goes into arrears and the next sundown. Like, it's very old-fashioned, like medieval kind of laws. And so these bankers have like it's a ticking clock. You have less than 24 hours to get out of the country. Otherwise, they'll cut your hand off.
Oh my God.
I really hope you're right about this.
Stolen from the bank. And so apparently there's one highway from...
You'll have to send this to me as a fact before I keep this on.
Yeah. There's
it's
one
come out of
highway
Daily
from
Mail.
from the airport to like to the city CBD, and it's littered with Ferraris and Lamborghinis. And then when you go to the airport car park, it's littered with abandoned Ferraris and Lamborghinis.
Wow.
Because all these guys have to get out of the country before sundown, and because they can't pay off this car, and
How's
so
this
they've
not a
got.
movie?
They have to leave, and so it's just like, but nobody, you can't
Where
ever
did you hear
reclaim
about
that
this?
car either. No, a mate of mine is a banker, and he's been over there.
Mate,
And
you got to send me
apparently-
this. You got to send me this in an article.
It may be another country in the Arab Emirates.
So
but
just
it's,
moving on to the more facts. Because of they predicted that back in, I think it was the 70s, that Abu Dhabi's population would reach about 600,000, and as we all know, it's gone way past that.
What is it?
Which is
What is it now?
I actually don't have a population number.
Oh.
oh my god!
Hold on.
How do you not
What was
make
the
sure
point
you're...
of this? What was the grand point you were going
If
to
you
make?
had listened and hadn't rudely interrupted,
Sorry.
I would have told.
I thought I just
well,
assumed you had
It's
it there.
1
I was
point.
like,
It's as of 2018, it was 1.45 million.
for Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's the point you wanted to make about that? Wasn't about population numbers?
It's now 1.5. Okay, so they basically planned a city before people moved to it based on about 600,000. It's now at 1.54 or something. Because of the rapid development, they basically have a huge amount of traffic congestion and a severe shortage of car spaces with a lot of overcrowding. Also, there is an addressing system for the city, but it's not used. So if you wanted to send someone a letter, or you can't really, you can't just send it to their address. So what they do is directions and things have to be given based on nearby landmarks. And all it made me think of was Dwight from The Office. They're like, I'm just not sure about these instructions. How much clearer can I... When you hear the wasp's nest, turn right and walk 25 seconds.
When you started talking about that...
system which is working...
When you started talking about Dwight, then I just immediately went to that moment where they're looking for Michael and he goes into the Chinese restaurant. This way or this way.
Where he go?
Where he go?
Where he go? That's amazing, that bit. Okay. So that's I found very interesting. And onto the track. First race took place in the 1st of November 2009. It was designed by Ev's mate Herman Tilke. No, it's a 5.2 kilometre track, 58 laps. And the inaugural race was Formula One's first day-night race, which starts at 5 p.m. local time. And the floodlights are used to illuminate the circuit switched on from the start of the event to ensure a seamless transition from daylight to darkness. The most constructor wins. Anyone want to take a guess?
Mercedes.
Yes. How many?
5.
8.
6 in a row. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Fifth is Red Bull with 09, 10, 13, 20, 21. Most wins goes to Lewis Hamilton. Then Sebastian Vettel, then Max Verstappen. So Max has 2, Seb has 3, Lewis has 5.
Well, Max doesn't. Michael Massey has 1.
Never gonna let it go.
The public, the punters have 1 win for that as well. And the last podium was obviously Max, then Lewis. Do you guys remember who came third in that race?
Perez. No, he retired.
Yeah.
From the
Charles, wasn't it?
Lando.
No. So after all that, we can't even remember that Sainz came in third.
Oh, Sainz.
I knew it was Ferrari.
Believe me,
Sainz
nobody was worrying about who came third that race.
No.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
So
We got
Carlos
no
did.
memory
Yeah,
of
okay.
him.
Carlos has got a few
Wasn't
podiums.
That restart it involved Yuki as well, didn't it? Wasn't he the one car? Yeah. And so it reminded me today because they let the lapped cars unlap
Well, Yuki
themselves
didn't
as
go
per
round.
usual.
He just started
And
dropping
they
backwards.
they've forgotten about him.
But after they made a big
they were
song
like-
and dance about the fact that they've got software now to identify which of
Yeah.
the cars need to
Yeah.
be unlapped.
Nah, they just forgot about him.
It's so weird.
So he
I
just
love
pulled
it.
over to the side and everyone just went flying past him.
It's
Yeah.
funny because you're short. If you're looking for him in the crowd, we got everyone. Yeah, like leaving
Yeah,
Disneyland,
yeah,
we got
yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
Then Yuki's just wandering through the crowd. Where is everyone?
Kevin!
Yeah.
I'm alone.
Okay, so with that out of the way, let's talk about what the track's like. I'll put this on you, Ev. How would you describe the Abu Dhabi track as, in terms of how you'd race it and what cars are really going to find an advantage on it?
Yeah, it's another high power track. The bigger tracks favor higher power because you're going to be at top speed for longer. So usually that's been Mercedes. But, Red Bull this year has been that team. Think about Spa, how Max could drop back and then still just like drive around everybody. They've made some changes last year, I think it was. They got rid of a chicane before the hairpin. So they've tried to make it more interesting, but yeah, it's still incredibly dull because there's such huge back straights. There's one back straight and one at the start finish straight, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, I got to wait 30 seconds for the next corner.
But it's interesting because the back straight at Brazil is actually phenomenal because so many overtakes that happen there. That was amazing.
Yeah. And it's also like
The elevation of it's great as well.
What they try to do is to activate DRS overtakes. They want the greatest closing speed to the corner. So they want everybody at top speed so that you've got to brake as hard as possible. So that should instigate some overtaking at the corner. But what's happening is that people are just overtaking before then.
Yeah.
And so it's pointless. But then you look at Brazil, like if it was only ever touch and go if somebody overtakes before the corner. And even then, you've got to outbrake the guy, even if you're like slightly ahead. So it's always competitive the whole way around. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan.
Oh, you a fan?
I don't remember it. I've told you guys I have a terrible short-term memory. Like I legitimately,
it's
I can't.
It's the one with the boats.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's terrible. I just remember what happened in that final lap. I don't remember the track layout. Part of me
It has
thought
the nice. The start's good. It has those big sweeping corners at the very beginning.
Yeah. I'm
with
sure
the
once I
palm
get,
trees.
and again, like this is why I admire Ev when we play the video game because he just remembered. He had, again, you look at the drivers. The reason why they're etched into these guys' subconscious. It's all autopilot. But I just, because I have to think about them too much when I do race them because I don't do it often enough. I actually don't input it into memory. It's just too functional. So I don't remember it. But to be honest with you, I hate the track because I hate the destination. Not as a place. I've got no idea what the place is. But just in terms of I feel like it doesn't add... You go back to like the issue with F1 in the longer term. It doesn't add much. And I don't like what happened there last year. So I don't really care for it.
No.
But I'd like to see Lewis maybe grab a win. That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, things I remember before the very end of the last race, Lewis showed us that if you can't handle someone taking over your position, you can just drive off the track across the chicane and not be penalised for it. So we can't also forget about that. Yeah, just like Ev said, they've obviously just got specific overtake points that they want, and that's where all the overtaking. And I find that super boring.
Yeah,
I just that's why I think I love Brazil. You just never know what's going to happen. It's not predictable, and the last thing you want in sport is predictability, or in TV in general. So I mean, I don't mind finishing there. It's like a nice solid spot. It looks nice. It's not very cultural, so it kind of just feels like, oh, it's the end of the year now. So now we can just focus on the race and not the excitement of the place that we're in. You know? I don't know. It's just it's textbook. So with that in mind, we move on to Ollie's odds.
Ching ching. Oh yeah. Okay. So having no memory of the track, I'm gonna go. This is what I want to happen rather than what I think will happen, which is the first for Ollie's odds. But I think Lewis, Sergio, Charles,
Oh, okay.
and
No
fastest
George
lap
after-
will go to George Russell.
Okay. I reckon after their performance this week, Mercedes has got to be up there. They really need this. So I'm going to say Lewis. Now that Russell has his win, if he is leading, he might just let Lewis by. So I'm going to go Lewis, Russell, and Max third. And fastest lap to Perez.
Ooh, I'm going to say Lewis, George, and Charles.
Also, Ferrari will hold on to second place.
Okay. I think they're gonna. I trust that they're going to somehow turn this oil tanker around and make good decisions for the first time this season.
Okay. And who's got your fastest lap?
Max, just to take it away from Sergio.
Okay. Okay. Now, if Ferrari do get that position and they hold on to second, will we see Binotto doing some champagne showers in the pits, or will it be very just tranquil in the Ferrari paddock going, well, we should have done better than that?
Yeah, I think it'll be as reserved as Italians can be. Yeah. Every team, to be fair, has lots to celebrate. Finishing the season,
Yeah.
you know.
It's a long season.
It'll feel like relief, I think, this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
And honestly, that's what most sports stars seem to say when they've been building to just a win of something, like getting a championship, or you just feel relieved that it's all done, and then you suddenly want to move on to the next one. I think everyone is firmly looking at next year, but hoping to hold on to as many points as possible. All right, well, with that, we are now on to the final section of our third last show. And just while on that, another milestone this week, episode 30. Well done, boys. Pat yourselves on the back.
Woo!
Clap, clap.
30.
30 fucking... it's
That's
what,
a
60
lot of
hours
work.
of us chatting, talking
60?
shit.
Nah, at
Well,
least every episode
50.
was an hour and a half.
45. 45 hours. All right, well, let's move on to What's Verstappening. What's Verstappening is the section where we talk about what has been happening off the track mostly, but also on the track, and the social aspect of the F1. I give Ollie and Ev a 20-second window in which to discuss the topic that I will put forward to them. I will be limiting it to 20 seconds. I don't care today if you've finished your point. I'm actually just going to stop you. I don't care how interesting it is, but don't blame me, people listening out there in Spotify and Apple podcast world. If you don't get to hear the answer, not my fault. You're welcome to message us on Instagram, and I can get an answer for you from Ev or Ollie. Okay, so we'll start with Ev today, and then you'll do you, Ollie. You got 20 seconds, so think about your answer and keep it brief. Right. Silver Arrow speculation. With Red Bull penalty for wind tunnel and Mercedes on the ascension, are the Silver Arrows going to go into 2023 as favourites for the championships? Can we be so bold and obnoxious to make some calls right now? Ev.
We can, yes. Collectively, the three of us.
He's been doing it all year.
I think we've no problem with being that obnoxious. Yeah, I'll go as far as to say Mercedes will win 100% of the races next year.
Awesome. Great.
idiot.
Kept it short. I love it. All right. Ollie.
Yeah, I'd put if I were a betting man, I'd be putting my money on Mercedes to win the constructors and drivers championship next year.
All right,
I'd written Lewis off, but I reckon bank him for 8th world championship next year.
Do you remember how every race we were tipping Mercedes, they'll come
no,
back.
you.
They'll come back.
Now they're coming
You.
back. It's a bit late though.
Yeah,
All right.
I was right.
On to the next. Haas shoe done enough. Haas shoe done enough. That's the title. Team boss
You
Gunther
Haas,
Steiner
mate.
confirmed that a decision has been made on who will fill the seat alongside Kevin Magnussen next year, but would not be drawn further. It will be announced this week. Will it be Mick? Will it be Hulkenberg? Will it be Giovinazzi or someone else? Evan, your thoughts.
Ted actually had a good point in that the chassis for next year would already need to start getting made. They get theirs made by a company called Dallara, who make all the IndyCar.
You have
chassis.
You have 7 seconds to answer this
And
question.
Mick is very short, and Magnussen is quite tall.
Mhm.
Not Magnussen, sorry.
And that's your wrap. Who's going to drive next year?
Hulkenberg.
Okay, Hulkenberg it is. Ollie.
Because they need to order it.
Ollie, I'll let you finish that statement at the end if we have time.
You do
Ollie.
that.
Nah, I think Ev's right. In the weirdest way possible of getting to the answer, but I think Hulkenberg's locked in, which I think is ridiculous because Schumacher is driven just as... I don't know what they're going to get. I've said that from day one. Why would you go back to someone like Nico, not Rosberg? It's a bad call.
He's been dropped by Ferrari as well.
Oh wow!
But didn't he walk away from that?
So that's the scoop here. You heard it here first. Again, Hulkenberg will be driving for Haas. It's just a shame for Mick. I would like to see Mick him racing. I don't think.
Can
he's
I
been
throw
as
in
bad
an
as
extra little bit there? What I do understand is that
I don't think you can, but be quick.
Mick Schumacher has been lined up as reserve driver for Mercedes if Daniel Ricciardo doesn't take the gig.
All right. Okay. Well, you also heard it here first, people. Mick Schumacher, reserve driver, Mercedes. All right. Sergio, seriously shitty. Having dissected what happened enough between Max and Sergio this weekend, looking forward, has Max ultimately played the game with too much short-sightedness and now runs the risk of having having a number 2 driver ready to do anything for him? We'll keep it short.
The answer is yes for both.
So
My answer
Sergio will
is
fall in
always
line.
correct.
Sergio falls in line. It's not a big deal.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's he going to do?
He's not going to do anything. What are you
He's
going
going
to
to
do?
take his
like the school board.
paycheck. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is unfair, but okay. All right, last one. Social media cesspool. Over the weekend, Alpine threatened action against those that engage and comment via social media on its channels following the disgusting and abhorrent nature of many, many toxic comments that was evoked by a few on-track issues with Ocon and Alonso before the race. Gents, what are your thoughts on these toxic comments and how Alpine are dealing with it? Evan.
I thought it was weird that this came out because we've seen such vitriol and toxicity around everybody else. Alpine, are they that offensive?
Well, I think this has come up before with people hating on Ocon because they love Alonso so much. As people who are active on socials running a page, it doesn't actually take much to get these people to say horrible things. Why? Because they are on a computer and there is no accountability. It's like playing Call of Duty on the PlayStation.
You know what the
people
best thing
will say
for
the
sport
most
would be?
abhorrent things. What?
The best thing for sport, and this is going to be my answer, is just to shut social media down.
Yeah.
It's just, it is seriously, it's the stain on the industry. And to your point, people hide behind keyboards. Yeah, they're not valid, but it's just...
Question would go out, is it worth having these horrendous comments if it means that it keeps people more engaged? Or do you think there's more negative than positive from it? Because I would personally say, well, just don't go on and read the comments if you're a driver. Just stick to your driving.
Yeah, but it's human nature, right? The drivers, athletes, they read these, because unfortunately social media has been tailored as kind of the church of public opinion as opposed to the people. And the irony is the people that are saying the disgusting shit are always the first ones to be cheering when things go their way, right? It's always the same people. But no, I think, again, to Ev's point, this stuff's existed forever, but obviously
You just see it
sports
more.
teams and athletes now have a responsibility to clamp this shit out and stop these people from feeling like they have the ability of saying. And to be honest with you, the social media companies have a bigger role to play there.
Yeah. And they're horrible companies because all they want is more engagement, and they know that negative
they get more
engagement,
advertising dollars from it.
and negative things create much more engagement. That's why you often see more negative stuff, because they know that you're more likely to respond to something that you disagree with, or it makes you, riles
Yeah,
you
but
up.
this stuff isn't like here's a video of Donald Trump saying something.
No, it's not what I'm talking about. I'm
to-
talking about literally comments on things. If someone comments negatively and you disagree with that, you're more inclined to respond to them and go, "Whoa, I disagree, blah, blah, blah." Like, if someone says something and you agree, you just hit the like button and go, "Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, I totally agree." That's why when we get comments on our videos, it's often just people disagreeing with us.
just throwing shit. Yep. Fair point.
I mean, maybe I'm naive. Maybe everyone just disagrees with us.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, they're
there's
wrong.
A difference there. It's a fine line.
Yeah. Well, as much as we appreciate your opinions, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Very wrong. All right. Well, we did pretty well then. We kept that pretty tight, got the answers we wanted, and now we look forward to the final race. It's sad. I can't believe we're already at the final race of the season. I know we're going to do it. Yeah, Vettel's gone.
last race. I'd probably
Danny's
cry, to be
gone.
honest. I have a tear. Danny's gone. Schumacher's gone. Latifi's gone. There's a lot
Before
gone.
we go,
Gone, but
I
not
want
forgotten.
one more prediction from you both. Where does Danny Ricciardo finish this weekend?
7th.
I'm going to say he's going to be 17th.
Oh, that's harsh.
Is it? Right. Well, as we've only got a few episodes left, today we're going to end with one of my songs.
Yay!
This was the first single we ever did. It was one of the first songs I wrote for my band. I actually wrote it back in 2010. It was kind of like a half song.
How
It was
quickly did you write it?
pretty quick. It was me and my mate
there you go.
Declan Patton. He wrote most of the words and I wrote the music, and then I wrote the chorus. It's a pretty basic song about living in living in a beachside area like
America.
Manly or Venice,
like Manly, yeah.
and just chasing girls and then chasing you, and just kind of like one of those let's go out and drink and find girls and date and have sex. Oh yeah. And it's called Primal Heat, and it is as 80s as you would hope that it was. I once got told as a negative review, it was, and I took it quite positively, this is the kind of track that belongs in the volleyball scene of Top Gun. I was like, that's amazing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And they thought that they were trying to
Take
pull
that.
it
By the
down.
way,
yeah, and I was like,
I'm
Thank
never
you.
going to have you guys explain to me what the meaning behind your songs are, because every single time that you have explained how you landed at your song, it's like, oh, well, you killed the romance of that idea.
well, but if you listen to the words, it's not hidden in the lyrics. It's not. This is not a deep song.
Yeah,
It's actually we kind of wanted to be a bit like what Steel. This is actually before I knew Steel Panther existed. We're not as crude as Steel Panther, but when we wrote this, we were like, we don't want to take it seriously. It's 80s metal, It's like we want to have a bit of fun with it, and a lot of those songs are that just kind of meaningless, just a bit of boys having fun, girls having fun kind of thing. Anyway, you'll hear it. It's a fun song.
Girls
it's summery.
just
It's rock.
wanna
It's hard
have
rock.
fun.
So that's the song, and then please enjoy it.
Well
and
done.
if you like it, just stream the shit out of it on Spotify. Until next week, everyone, enjoy the final race of 2023. Thank you, Ev. Thank you, Ollie.
See you,
Good night,
team.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Play the music again.